Perfect. Yeah, g'day, I'm Hamish Watson. I'm going to talk about the intersection of artificial intelligence and data. The reason why I'm doing a session on AI and data is because they're intrinsically linked. You can't have good AI processes and systems if your data is not so great. So that's going one way, whereas where I come from, I want AI to revolutionise how we actually do stuff with data. Goodness, when was it? 8 years ago, I was working with the University of Canterbury. I run, I assume some of you have met me before, very inconspicuous fellow. Wouldn't be able to pick me out from a lineup. I've been in a lineup 4 times. Anyway, as most of you will know, I do a lot of free community education. I do a lot of mentorships with universities, and I was doing one with the University of Canterbury in 2017 with some PhDs of data, so masters. They were doing Master of Data Science, and we were doing this whole data quality stuff, and it took weeks to clean the data, and we were running it through through models and stuff, and doing a whole heap of really cool machine learning stuff. And the thing was, what took us weeks, so beginning in 2024, I thought, I'm going to go back and grab all the stuff and see how long it takes. It took minutes of what we did in weeks. Yeah, I was down in Queenstown and I was doing another version of AI, Artistic Insanity. That's Iggy Pop. That dude's 78. And I watched that on Saturday down in Wanaka. Dude's a legend. Anyway, I'm Hamish. I've been doing stuff and things for about 20 odd years. If you do know me and heard me speak, I generally talk about DevOps with databases because that's a personal passion. I like to, educate people on basically how to make their jobs go better. I run a couple of companies. And helping clients understand AI, data and cloud is, well, pays the mortgage. At the end of the day, I am a technologist, like I am a geek, but I understand business value because a lot of the times I'm having to sell a transformation piece of work where the company wants to do something and we have to have everyone on board. And so your DBA, right, database administrator, they're worried about rows and columns and indexes and queries and all that horridness. Whereas, how do we actually link that to the company? The company wants to deliver value. And yeah, make stuff go. It's been a hashtag of mine for, goodness, coming up 12 odd years. And I believed in it so much, so I actually formed a company called Make Stuff Go. I'm a dual Microsoft MVP, so I'm a data platform MVP for about 8 odd years and an AI MVP for about a year. I am also an ENFJ.
Oh, great.
So I don't know what that means. It just means I'm a loud person, but the F means I have feelings, so be kind, eh? Yeah, so anyway. So the agenda, I'm gonna talk about AI and testing data. Because one of the pain points with data is around how do we test production data, right? And so the easiest way that we've been doing since 1995, take a copy of production, restore it as test, and then we're like, whoa, personal identifiable information, and so we then do data masking, all these things, and that in itself is quite hard. But also, so data generation, but also unit testing. There is a severe lack of unit testing within the data world. Why is that? Testing data is hard. The reason being is because to get your eventual data, it's not just what you produce in terms of data, it's actually how you got there. And it's quite hard. Whereas I know that AI can help us with this. And of course, automating our testing processes, identifying patterns, reducing bias in data sets, and also some practical insights into test-driven development. I've been talking about test-driven development for 2018. Is anyone in the room actually doing test-driven development? I love you. Thank you so much. And the reason why I got into test-driven development, well, there's many reasons, because it's good, but also I found it polarised people. And I think you were actually one of the few sessions I did, because there was almost a fight. I did it at my data minute. G'day.
When you say test-driven development,
Yep.
do you mean like test and learn, or like is there a different meaning of those words?
Fantastic. So test-driven development is where we write, so in a normal situation we write code to what we think it's going to be and then we test it. Whereas I think we should write the test first. The reason, and so it's writing the test first and then developing the code to satisfy the test.
Is that kind of like the purpose of user stories or?
100%. Yeah. I don't want to ruin slide 16, so I'll move on. I don't even know if it's slide 16. And yeah, I'm going to do a demo on stuff and things. Now, I have driven from Queenstown today. There was a little bit of a mix-up. I thought I was coming back yesterday. We did a winery tour around Central Otago yesterday, which is, well, looked like trash. But anyway, so think about this. And this is what I'm trying to do, because I'm a data person. Most people know is the data and DevOps person. And you know, you hear all this stuff in the media, and it's not going to be AI that replaces us. It's going to be a person who uses AI. And one of my jobs, I'm a coach and trainer, and one of the gigs I'm doing at the moment is I'm training Microsoft Cloud Solution Architects in how to use AI and Copilot. And it's a real weird paradigm, teaching Microsoft people about Microsoft products. And the thing is that this, you know, where I want people to think about this is we have pain points. And when it comes to data, data is just a whole heap of ones and zeros and, you know, a couple of words chucked in. And AI is really good at that, because AI is just machine learning. It reads contextual data or text and can make sense of it, and it just goes, okay, there's a pattern there, blah, blah, blah. And so where I want AI to go with me and you is to help us be better technologists, not replace us. And I often do this session, or sorry, a similar session to management, because management think that we can just get rid of swathes of people, and it's terrible. So the traditional testing approaches with data has been manual. You know, it's rule-based, and there are limitations because human error. When we are running testing scenarios, we as humans, we're unable to handle large-scale or complex data sets. And so we can't find hidden issues, and sadly, no matter how much we try to be woke as, we still have bias, no matter what we try and think that we're good at. And so one of the really cool things is that AI is a game changer, because what it brings is AI is all about learning algorithms that actually adapts to the data. It dynamically adjusts itself as the data changes, and it gives us real-time decision making as we're doing this stuff. And unlike us, AI can look at, you know, past testing data and improve over time, and it can also scale out incredibly. And one of the reasons why, and again, I feel it's essential in today's data-driven development environments, is because we are dealing with a vast amount of data that really needs testing. And since 2018, I've been trying to get the data community and data industry on testing, and it's woefully low. I was in the States in November last year, and this is 7 years after I was last, when I started my own personal journey of getting people to get on the testing stuff. And I was like, right, cool. I was running a whole day workshop I said, right, hands up who does unit testing. And it was honestly 5 hands out of 50. And it makes me sad. And the reason why it makes me sad is because if we are not testing our data as we are creating systems, we are relying on our clients as one, insurance, and two, our testers. I don't know how many clients you're paying to test your data, but you know, they're not on board with it. And in fact, the difference between a client testing your data and finding an issue, and you finding it on your laptop at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if I find it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I can fix it. If a client finds it, they're not as happy as I would be. And so I think where we can incorporate some of the fundamentals of AI in terms of machine learning and adopting it in our testing strategies, because what it will do is we can start way like here. An example that I discussed with security teams is around SNCC or sneak, or however we Kiwis say that Y letter. And one of the fundamentals is I want to capture everything on my laptop before I even push it to source control. And the reason for that is, right, I write the code, it gets flagged, hey, there's an issue with the data or code, whatever. Because the minute I push it to source control, it's in a commit history. And why I say that is because I was working with a company in the US who were working with MongoDB. I have no soul, by the way. Most of you will think I work with SQL Server. I've got a mortgage to pay you on. So I was working at MongoDB and they were like, oh, we'll get the password to you. And I was like, no, I'm in. They were like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm in production as well. And they're like, how did you do that? I was like, it's in your source control commit history. Someone pushed it, then they were like, oh, I better remove this, and didn't remove the commit history. So if you want your system to be broken into, hi, my name's Hamish Watson. I'm a nice guy, right? I was like, you need to sort this out. So yeah, we want to capture stuff as soon as, and we want to do it as quick as. So again, data verification and validation, these are massive because, again, you know, when I work with developers, we're a 1 terabyte system with, you know, billions of bloody rows or whatever, and we want, you know, 10 rows or 50 rows here because we don't handle big amounts of data so well. Whereas if we throw this automation stuff in AI, you know, we can compare large data sets. More importantly, we can identify discrepancies in everything. And by getting rid of the toil, so you're probably going to think that I'm just ramming AI down your bloody throat. Here's the deal. It's great for doing all the stuff that we're shit at, and I apologise for swearing, but, you know, it's me. We're not good at that manual toil stuff because the phone goes and we talk to our mates or we're texting people, this, that and the other. Whereas what I want to see is data verification and validation are our weak points. It's AI's strong points. So at the end of all this, I want humans to be architecting systems. I want to use AI to enable me, not replace me. And, you know, if we can do this shift from manual to AI-powered testing, it's just going to bring the fun back to everything. So some examples. I mean, I talked about this before. I used AI tools, you know, like the really cool thing is that the industry has gone so far in the last couple of years, right? So I've used Mabel a lot for test case generation. And, you know, when we look at Databricks and Great Expectations, and so these are all data-y things. It's amazing to see where we're going. At the end of the day, I want speed and efficiency, I want test accuracy improved, and I want test coverage being enhanced, not where, like I had one client who like wrote all their tests, so they had, their test coverage was like 85%. I was like, oh, this is cool. They'd fudged it. They'd written their test so that it would pass. I was like, you've missed a valid bloody point here. Whereas if we can throw AI at it, it's really good at that. Whereas, yeah, humans, we just cheat. And of course, data environments are evolving. And so as a DevOpsologist, I will always talk about continuous integration, continuous delivery, and if you're doing, if you've really drunk the Kool-Aid, you're going to do continuous deployment. Anyone want to hazard a guess what the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment are? It's okay if you can't, I'm about to tell you. Go on.
Continuous integration is when you add more code.
Yep.
You get it validated and make sure it's safe to commit or whatever.
Sweet as.
Continuous delivery is like pushing that into your production environment or whatever.
Yeah, cool. And try me for the trifecta for continuous deployment.
Yeah.
Difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Anyone? Give us a go. Hello.
So they're just a one-step through from prod into done.
You got it. So continuous delivery, we have a gate, which is us, and we're like, do they look good? What does the evidence look like? Because we've deployed hopefully through at least 3 or 4 deployment environments. Whereas continuous deployment is, I write code, it's built and it's pushed and done. It's in production, and the only way you can get there is by automation. And so that's again where code that has been validated or verified by AI is going to help us. Now, one of the main points is generating synthetic test data, because the problem is that I have this production system of insurance data and credit cards and all this kind of stuff, but I want to develop against and test against prod-like environment. And the number of times where I walk into a client, I'm like, okay, show me your pre-prod environment. They're like, pre-prod environment? Okay, do you call it staging? Staging? Oh, we refreshed the database about 3 years ago, but the QA department, they just keep, and insert swear word, complaining. I'm like, why are they complaining? Well, they keep saying it doesn't look like production. So we'll just refresh production into QA. I'm like, that's the answer. And so I love people that do quality control and quality assurance. The reason being, they're our insurance. They just missed a couple of letters in it. They should call it QI, quality insurance. The reason being is because every test that they write is protecting us from being sued, if you're in the US, oh gosh, by our clients. Because in New Zealand, we're chill outs, we released some stuff, sorry about that. And as Kiwis go, cheers, at least you said sorry. So what we want to do is create synthetic data that matches almost exactly production. And it's really, really hard. Like, I spent 6 months with a client in the US, and they're a security firm. So they did rostering for police, right? So the police in the US don't get paid that much. And so what they do is they do security guard jobs on the weekend. That's very secure, and a lot of stuff. And yeah, it took months to get a representation of what they had in production, because they keep going, should we just restore it? I'm like, no, we need to scrub it and da-da-da. Well, the really cool thing is, and I'm hoping to show you if I start, eventually shut up, generating synthetic data by pointing AI at a known CSV. We've got production-like data that won't identify someone. And so this gives us realistic and diverse, because again, I talked about bias before, and we're very biased, and scalable, because AI can produce test data at massive scales, and it can also support large-scale testing environments. We're kind of shit at that. And so I feel that this is a massive place that we can do it. And of course, doing test coverage. And so there's some techniques and stuff. Excuse me. So I don't know about you, but I often will use Copilot, ChatGPT, and Claude. And I'll try and make them fight against each other. Well, out in the industry, that's not what it is, and I have to look at the laptop because I can't can't pronounce it, a generative adversarial network. And so this is where AI models learn to generate synthetic data by training two neural networks, one that creates the data and one that evaluates it. And in my world, that's literally asking Copilot something, ChatGPT, if it's not sensitive data, please don't do that. And then Claude, I'm leaving, like Anthropic, like the demo tonight, I use Anthropic because it nails it. When it comes to codes, hi, g'day.
I'm so sorry. Adversarial, what will this word?
Adversarial.
Yeah, adversarial. I'm the worst Kiwi speaker in the world. So if anyone, is anyone in here a client of mine? I know you were. Therapy was a good thing. There's a WhatsApp group set up for it. So I have a thing called Hamglish, because I just speak wrong.
I just want to work out the fancy word to sound fancy. So
Sweet
what's
as.
the adversarial?
Oh yeah, it's generative. Got that? Yep, cool. Adversarial. Okay, ADVERSARIAL networks.
Fantastic, thank you.
GAN. GANs. Yeah, just. Oh, sorry. Just Google GANs. You'll be sweet as.